nice that Haley doesn't.
Yeah, probably so.
And then 2 seconds later, yeah, we take them in there, but we don't take them in there until 4 o'clock. And
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the May 23rd, 2005 meeting of the Haltom City Council. We will begin tonight with an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Mayor Pro Tem Jim Sutton. If you will please stand and join us for those two matters at this time.
Let's pray. God, we just thank you for your love, for your grace, for your blessings upon each one of us, Father, that are undeserved in many cases, but we thank you for them, Father. We thank you for your standards of right and wrong, Lord, in the same manner, and we just pray that you give us the wisdom to consider them as we deliberate tonight, and bless us accordingly. We pray these things in your name, Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item on the agenda tonight is for the newly elected officials to receive the oath of office. And our city secretary acting tonight, our assistant city secretary, Donna Pliska. Are we ready?
yes,
Okay, I think places 1, 2, 7, and the mayor need to join the city secretary over here at the podium, please.
just say council member. If you just kind of stand there. We'll come down this one. Okay, all right. We're ready. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I will now administer the oath of office. If you'll just repeat after me, please, and raise your right hand. I, and please state your name,
I, Chris Haltom,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of,
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of
and please state your,
City Council, Place 2,
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my abilities
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution
and laws of the United States and of this state,
and laws of the United States and this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
It is is my pleasure to present to you at this time, first to Council Member Sutton, your certificate of election.
Thank you.
And Council Member Holcomb.
Thank you.
Council Member Branson. And I get to present this to myself. Okay, if you will, let's go back to our positions, and we'll give each one of you an opportunity to address the audience. Okay, we'll begin in numerical order. Councilmember Jim Sutton, place 1. Would you like to address the audience at this time?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to start by thanking my family for their love and support. I couldn't serve in this capacity were it not for the many sacrifices that they make on behalf of my service to the citizens of Haltom City, so I'm thankful to them. I also want to thank all those in Haltom City who hold hope for this city and its potential, who pray for those who serve in this city, and who vote, who serve as volunteers on various boards and commissions, and serve as ambassadors of all that is good in this community by their words and their actions. Many of these people supported me during these past 2 elections, and I'm grateful, honored, and humbled by their friendship and helpful advice. I appreciate the historical perspective that many of you share with me on Haltom City's past. We can all learn in a positive manner from the past, both from the successes and the failures of previous initiatives and policies. We must not forget to honor those who have served unselfishly on behalf of this city, and also to learn from the lessons that have been revealed to us from our collective failures and successes in the past. I'm also grateful for the principled vision that many of you have communicated to me for Haltom City. Gosh, I appreciate the honor of being a representative on this council for the future vision of this city and its potential that many of us have come to share. There are some important debates that should occur during the next several years that pertain to the future needs of our community. I look forward in confidence to the process where decisions that affect us all can be amicably reached. As we enter this new term, finally, I want to thank the voters once again for electing a council that is a joy to work with, is creative in their approach to management, and is principled in their leadership. I look forward to these next 2 years of my term to working with my fellow colleagues to help Haltom City reach its highest potential in the eyes of our constituents.
Thank you, Councilmember Sutton. Councilmember Chris Holcomb.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the last 12 months has been quite an experience. There's been some quiet times, and there's been some not so quiet times. I've had the opportunity to learn quite a bit, and I appreciate the opportunity. I do consider it an honor. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to assisting and moving the city forward this next year. Thanks again.
Thank you, Councilmember Holcomb. And place 7, Councilmember Diane Branson.
Thank you, Mayor. Since I'm usually the last one to speak, except for the mayor, mine are usually pretty short because everything's been said by the time it gets to me. But 2 years ago, the citizens of Haltom City gave me the privilege of representing them on the City Council. And I thank you for the confidence and the opportunity to serve in this role. There are going to be some exciting things happening in our city, and I'm honored to be a part of that. I don't think there's anyone that's sitting up here that won't acknowledge that it takes the support of those close to them to make it work. So Mom and Dad and Clay and Tommy, I couldn't do it without your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Branson. And I want to begin my comments tonight by thanking the citizens of Haltom City for allowing me to serve a 3rd term as your mayor. I'm humbled by your confidence. I'm honored to serve in this capacity. And as I have said the 2 previous times when I was sworn in and had an opportunity to make a statement to the citizens of our community, I view this position as one of service, and certainly as being a sacred trust. My commitment I make to you, the citizens of Haltom City, over the next 2 years is to continue to serve in the way you will be proud of, to continue to lead with vision for a better Haltom City, to continue to be a voice calling for us to raise the standard and to continue the trend of improvements in our city. Another commitment I renew in my comments tonight is to continue to be accessible to the citizens of Haltom City. My cell phone number is area code 817-480-7835. You can reach me at that number anytime. Sometime I don't answer it, but it's because I'm with a client. But I do want you to feel free to call. This past Saturday, I had a gentleman come by my house, rang the doorbell, came in, we sat down in the living room and talked for about an hour and a half. And I want you to feel free to do that type thing. The citizens of Haltom City have, in the last 4 years, been very respectful to me and my family and to our privacy, and I appreciate that. And this openness that I'm talking about has never been abused, and I'm not expecting for it to be. I need to hear what you have to say. And stop me at the grocery store or at the gas station or wherever, like you have been doing. I need to hear what you have to say, and I need to help you find answers to questions you may have. 2 major objectives I will have in my leadership in these next 2 years, in addition to what I've just said. We have to get that library built. We have to get started on that soon. And we need to keep faith with the voters who entrusted us with $4 million worth of money a few years ago, and we need to get that in place. And I am going to do what I can from the position of mayor, and I've talked with Mr. Muir, our city manager. We have to have leadership to get that underway. We're about a year down the road from where we promised the voters in Haltom City we would be. The second thing is I'm going to be encouraging and calling for what I'm calling a Belknap corridor study. We have a lot of things happening along Belknap. This is a historic area. It's one of our older parts, but it's a major entrance into our city. We've got some things happening, some new buildings, and we need to harness all of that under a common vision. I'm not quite sure what that will be, whether we're talking about an enterprise zone or some type of mixed use or a historical district or a master plan for Belknap or all of the above. I don't know what that needs to be, but we need to get busy and get started on that to make that area, along with the other good things we have in our city, begin to fall in place. We currently have an 820 study. We have the Cotton Belt line. We have other things that are currently in place, and I'm convinced the Belknap area is one that we need to put a major focus on. And I make the commitment to you in these next 2 years to make significant progress in that regard. And along the line of both of these items, I'm asking our city manager, if he will, on the next agenda 2 weeks from tonight, to put both of these items on, where we can talk about our library, where we are, where we're headed, when we think we'll get there, and just a good citizen update, as well as some preliminary discussion on that Belknap corridor study. These are 2 very important things. I'm looking forward to these next 2 years. Somebody mentioned the term team a moment ago, and that's what we are. We have a partnership not only with elected officials and staff, but with the business owners and the citizens of Haltom City, and I want to see that partnership continue as it is currently underway. One item I want to place on the radar screen, and that probably is not going to happen in the next couple of years, but we need to start thinking about it, and that is for a new city hall. Let's start thinking about that, because the day will come when that will be in place. Having said that, I'm pleased to be serving as your mayor for these next 2 years. Councilmember Holcomb.
Thank you, Mayor. I know this may seem a bit unorthodox or out of order. I forgot to mention something that is pretty vital to my success here on City Council, and that's what were 3 people sitting in the front row. I'll tell you, as a young family, I know everybody's been there, but you got baseball practice, baseball games, you've got cheerleading. She works a full-time job, and yet she still finds a way to get dinner on the table. If it wasn't for her taking up the slack at home, which is my wife, Heather, this just wouldn't be possible. In an effort to keep it short and sweet a few minutes ago, I failed to mention probably the most important part. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it.
Other members of the council, even though you were not just reelected recently, do you have any comments you'd like to make at this time before we go on to the next item on the agenda? Okay, there being none, item 1C, the consideration and/or action regarding election of the mayor pro tem. I'm in line for a motion regarding that. Councilmember Branson.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to nominate Councilmember Jim Sutton, place 1.
Okay, we have a nomination for Councilmember Sutton, and a second light came on by Councilmember Lanford.
Ask for a second.
Okay, Councilmember Hutchison.
I guess that's a third.
Okay.
It comes right after the second.
Well, your light was on, and I wanted to give you an opportunity. Okay, do we have any other nominations for the position of Mayor Pro Tem for this next year? Okay, there being none, if you will register your vote, I will display it at this time. And that is, Madam City Secretary, do you have the vote?
Yes.
That does pass with 1 abstention. Councilmember Sutton, congratulations and welcome aboard. The Mayor Pro Tem functions in the place of the mayor in the event of the mayor is not able to function. Okay, before we go to the next item, which is a presentation to make, I want to express my appreciation to the family of the elected officials who are here tonight. Some of you may have come for the purpose of seeing the swearing in. That has taken place. You're certainly welcome to stay for the entire council meeting. If you have things you need to be doing, feel free at this time or at any point along the way in the meeting to go on. But again, thanks to all of the families who are here tonight for this council meeting up to this point. Did you have something? Councilmember Sutton, your light is on.
Just very briefly, I wanted to say thank you to my fellow colleagues for your vote of confidence. I appreciate it, and I'm humbled by it. Thank you.
Okay. Having taken care of a few formalities, we move now to the remainder of the agenda. I have a presentation to make at this time, a proclamation to present to Mr. Chuck Crider. Mr. Crider, if you'll join me at the podium over here, this is a proclamation on Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month. Come on up closer. All right. This is a proclamation from the office of mayor of the city of Haltom City. In just a moment, we'll give you an opportunity to introduce the two who are with you tonight. Tell us a little bit more about motorcycle safety and awareness and your interest in that. Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month, May 2005. Whereas today's society is finding more citizens involved in motorcycling on the roads of our country, and whereas motorcyclists are roughly unprotected and much more likely to be injured or killed in a crash than other vehicle drivers, and whereas campaigns have helped inform riders and motorists alike on motorcycle safety issues to reduce motorcycle-related risks, injuries, and most of all fatalities through a comprehensive approach to motorcycle safety. And whereas urging all of our community to become aware of the inherent dangers involved in operating a motorcycle and giving the operator the respect on the road they deserve, and whereas it is the responsibility of all who put themselves behind the wheel to become aware of motorcyclists, regarding them with the same respect as any other vehicle traveling the highways of our country. Now, therefore, I, Calvin White, Mayor of the City of Haltom City, and on behalf of the Council, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2005 as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month in Haltom City, Texas. So, Mr. Kreider, it's my pleasure.
All right, I'm Chuck Kreider. I'm the director of the Brothers of the Third Wheel. We actually ride three-wheel motorcycles, most of us. It's the same thing. We're open out there on the road. If you hit us, we get hurt. And we're not asking for anything special. If we hit you, you're going to get hurt too. But the thing is, people don't notice a motorcycle in the lane beside them the way they would a car or a truck. Now, you're not the only one doing this. Okay, this is a thing that we've been pushing all over the state of Texas. You are one of 116 mayors in cities in Texas that has proclaimed May as Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
We just want people to wake up, learn the rules. We do have the same rights as a car, and we understand that y'all have the same rights as everybody, and if y'all watch out for us, we'll watch out for y'all, and we'll all live a lot longer.
Thank you very much. Will you introduce the two guests who are with you?
This is my friend Wes Higgs. This is the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Brothers of the Third Wheel. This is my wife, Maria. And some of our other members were going to be here and got tied up. But
Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, let's talk about announcements and events. And Mr. Muir, I believe you've got this duty tonight.
Yes, I do. The rec center will open Wednesday. I think you heard me talk about that last month. Oh gosh. Yeah, we still got a gym floor we got to deal with, but it'll be open and functioning Wednesday, May 25th. And for those who have forgotten where it's at 39 Broadway. One of the programs for the kids, it'll be the summer youth program, is for kids 7 to 13. It'll start June 6th and run through July 1st. It'll run Monday through Friday, 8 to 1. And activities include field trips, crafts, water play, and games such as frisbee, baseball, troll treasure, and bat tag. Now, bat tag, I need to talk to somebody about that. That does not sound healthy. Sounds like someone's going to get hurt. Bat tag. Also, registration for summer softball leagues are taking place now at the rec center. This is for men, women, and co-ed. Play will begin on the week of June 6th. And youth athletes who want to participate in the summer track program, that registration is also going on at the rec center. And for other information about rec center programs, they can call 817-831-6464. Aside from that, a couple have asked about the spread ground and the facilities therein, and I'm sorry I'm not real prepared to address that tonight, but they should be open and functioning next week, the week of Memorial Day week. As for the library, the summer reading program is about to get underway. It'll start on Saturday, May 28th, but that'll be the only Saturday presentation for the summer reading program, with a presentation by the Fort Worth Zoo. The programs will be on Mondays, on Tuesday through Fridays. Tuesdays, it'll be at Pecan Park. Wednesdays and Fridays, it'll be at the library. And on Thursdays, it'll be at Buffalo Ridge Park. Again, that's the summer reading program for the youth. There's also an adult mystery book club that meets at the library on the third Tuesday of each month from 6:30 to 8. And entries to the library's annual writing contest are due on Tuesday, May 31st. That's next Tuesday. And effective next Tuesday, the library will be changing its operating hours. It'll be still open Monday through Saturday. It'll open at 10:30 in the morning. However, on Monday through Thursday, it'll close at 8 p.m. On Friday, it will close at 6 p.m. And on Saturday, it will close at 5 p.m. Last Thursday, the Senior Center had a fundraising spaghetti dinner that wanted to thank the citizens and that attended, and certainly the council. The council served the meals. So 250 people ate a pretty good spaghetti dinner. I thought it was very good. And also later that same night, they citizens attended a concert in the park. This is the second concert in our series from Vocal Trash. For those who haven't been to those things, they really missed a special treat. Next month, it'll be the final concert in that series. It'll be Western swing music from the Texas Trail Hands, and it'll be on Thursday, June 16th from 7 to 8 p.m. at Haltom Road Park. July 4th, the city is participating in a fireworks display with the cities of Bedford, North Richland Hills, and the Quad Cities Foundation. It'll be over there at Birdville Stadium, but we haven't had that for a while, so we're going to see how that goes with the July 4th fireworks display with all those communities participating in it. And finally, next Monday, the city offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. Thank you.
Okay, we move now to the reports. Item number 2 on the agenda, the monthly financial report for April 2005. And our finance director, Mr. Joel Welsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Enclosed in your packet is, of course, the monthly council report for the fiscal year ending April 30th. I'm not going to go through an awful lot of it this time. There are some projections for the end of the fiscal year that haven't changed a great deal from last month's projections. I would like to talk about just one thing that's not in the report, and then a couple of things that are in it. The thing I want to talk about that's not in the report was that we received the May 15th letter from the Tarrant Appraisal District, and it concerns the assessed value of property in the city. If you saw in the newspaper said that the change in assessed values for the city was about 3.8%. We, for budget purposes, look at this from the value of the property that is left after the exemptions are removed. It is the net taxable value, and this is what we levy off of. And at least at this point, at May 15th, that the difference between what we have as our net taxable value right now and what was seen in the May 15th letter is about a 6% difference. It is 14 and about $60 million difference right now. What will happen between now and July 25th when we receive the certified roll? Typically what happens is you can lose up to half of that value difference. And so what we're using as budget planning at this point is about a 3% change net is what we're estimating at this point. There is a random element that factors into this. The appraisal district each year has property that is not on the list right now that doesn't show up on the list until July 25th. Last year it turned out to be a rather large amount. Most years it's not, but we don't know what that's going to be at this point. As far as the fiscal year is going, in the general fund in particular, property tax collections are pretty much on target. The sales tax collections have been a point of optimism for us. I would draw everyone's attention again to the fact that in April we received an adjustment in our sales tax across all of the various funds. The amount of the adjustment was about $449,000. This represents sales taxes paid by businesses to the state, and these businesses mistakenly thought that they were in Fort Worth or perhaps North Richland Hills, or in another jurisdiction, when in fact they were actually in Haltom City. So our sales tax auditors, MBIA, found these businesses, found out this information, went back to the state, and was able to collect for us a lump sum collection of, as I mentioned, about $449,000. About half of this amount is a one-time revenue to the general fund. And so that is something that's going to be useful in completing the fiscal year and hopefully going into the fund balance. I would also mention that this recent hot weather gives us some hope in our water and sewer fund. As I have mentioned, our sales have over the course of the year continued to fall short of expectations, despite the fact that it was dry. Our weather was so mild that sales have lagged. And we are hoping now that with warmer weather coming along that the fund is going to begin to come back around. I will say that in all of our funds, expenditures remain within the budgets, particularly after the amendment that is being considered for the second reading tonight. That will take care of some housekeeping things. Everything is going to be pretty well according to plan for the fiscal year. And finally, the last thing that I want to mention is on the investment portfolio. I like to talk about it because our weighted average yield on the portfolio at the end of April is up to 2.93%. It was 2.57% for the March report. And so we're continuing to improve the yield on the portfolio, and that helps in operations because that's money that we don't have to raise fees or raise taxes to generate to meet operating needs.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Welch? Any comments? Thank you, Mr. Welch. Okay, we do need to receive a motion regarding the acceptance of the monthly financial report. Councilmember Holcomb.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the monthly financial report as given.
Councilmember Branson.
For a second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. If you will, register your vote. And it is a unanimous vote for approval. Item number 3, capital improvement status report. Mr. Muir.
Thank you, Mayor. Many citizens know about the Jerry Lane Road project. It's east of Haltom Road. It goes to Rita Lane. The road is currently closed to through traffic due to construction of the underground utilities. Construction should take about 180 days. Aurora Street is about to commence. Council recently awarded a contract to Stabell & Wynn for $565,000. It's about the contract is about 210 days for construction. They have held the pre-con conference, and the contractor will mobilize and start construction on the underground utilities on June 6th. As far as drainage, last month I told the council about the Little Fossil Creek improvement project, that the funding for that project was yanked from the Corps of Engineers. We have been working with U.S. Representative Kay Granger's office about these issues, about getting support to replace those funds, and she has apparently been successful in doing that. We're still working with the Corps to get that confirmation, but we are. It looks very, very favorable to replace those funds for this year and subsequent years. The subsequent years are what's important because that's where the Corps is supposed to be paying the millions of dollars. Right now they're only funding a couple of $100,000 during the design. But we were very pleased to see that project get back on track. The design had been halted because of the fundings being yanked, but the design is now back on, and hopefully will be finished soon. So as that project develops, I'll keep the council advised. The Big Fossil Creek Consortium Study. It's been a while since we've had an update on this. We had recently had a technical committee meeting for all the communities. We had it here in our city a couple of weeks ago. And the project, like most things with the Corps, seemed to take years to complete, and much longer than we think. It's still got a couple of years to go and study and design. The funding for that project is becoming a concern. The COG, this is sponsored by the COG, the North Central Texas Council of Governments. The COG funding ends this year. They don't have any funding program for the subsequent years, and we still got at least a couple more years to go on this project. The cities, various cities, and there's just too many to count, have contributed to this project. If this project ends up getting halted and not done, we will be coming back to get our money back. The cities will be, and as far as for Haltom City, it's about $160,000 so far. So we'll be pushing that. There's a couple of new projects in the water and sewer realm. Lift station replacement project. It's estimated to be about $300,000. The project includes replacement of the North Hills and Browning lift stations, as well as upgrades to the Browning, Carson, and McLean lift stations. Design is complete, and the project is currently out for bid. The other project is out for bid is the Skyline Sewer Replacement Project. This is estimated to cost about $680,000. It includes replacement of 4,500 linear feet of sewer line, technically in Skyline Mobile Home Park. The park is unique in that the city is responsible for the sewer line, but not responsible for the streets. It's kind of like a condo association over there. But the park management has granted the city an easement to perform the work. The design is complete, and again, the project is out for bid. We should be coming to you in June next month to award those two projects. In the building projects, for the Municipal Service Center, the contractor still is continuing work with the punch list items. I'm going to be meeting with the architect to discuss retainage. We've currently got retainage about $160,000 right now, and we're going to be discussing how much, if any, of it will be paid to the contractor. For the rec center, as I stated earlier, we are going to be opening this day after tomorrow. The water damage to the gym is still needing to be repaired. So we have had some progress on that. The contractor has proposed a floor company to come in and replace the floor at his expense. That's a recent development. In the meantime, I've directed staff to go out and issue bids to replace the floor, and we recently opened those bids. The bids look good, but we've also been investigating the contractor, the flooring contractor that the contractor is proposing, and that looks good also. So we're looking at a time schedule here to see, I guess, when I can get the quickest, best floor I can. So hopefully in the next, sometime this week, some decisions will be made as far as how a floor will be done, but it's my hope that it'll be done by late June, early July. And then shortly after that, we will do the big whoop bang grand opening celebration to pop the cork off that place. As part of that, but what's going to be available May 25th on Wednesday, right? The facility has been open. For like ceramics classes and aerobics classes and things like that. On May 25th, the rest of the facility will be, I guess the other aspects of the facility will be open, like the youth gym, the weight room, some of the other activities, we'll have the pool tables and whatnot in there. So hopefully it'll all be operational except for the large gym. And finally, I'm going to close with the North Oaks tank painting project. I recently approved a change order of about $10,000 to repair some corroded roof supports that are in the middle of the tank that were not in the plan, that were not in the original design. So it's going to take about an extra 15 days. So the project probably won't be finished till early August 2005. That completes my report, and I'll take any questions that the council may have.
Councilmember Hutchison.
Yes, Mr. Muir, I'm taking a look at this water and sewer, the Skyline Sewer Replacement Project. I need to ask, I know we've got an easement to work on the sewer lines, but is the bid a big risk for us because we don't take care of the streets? Who is taking care of the streets, or is there somebody that's in the process of repairing the streets at the same time that we repair the sewer lines?
The streets that we cut up and we take care of and put back to what, at a minimum what it was or better. That's part of the project. It's just that it's, letting the council know that doing work in the park is typically not something that the city does because those are not city streets. But the city will be taking care of just that portion of the road that we tear up. We'll be repairing it and putting it back to what it was.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, we don't need to take action on that. We move now to the consent agenda. The consent agenda tonight consists of items number 4 through 8. These are considered to be self-explanatory. They will be enacted by the council with one motion. Approval of the consent agenda authorizes the city manager to implement each of these items in accordance with staff or board recommendations. So, council, I'm ready for a motion. Councilmember Lanford.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Councilmember Hutchison.
That would be for a second.
Have a motion, a second to approve. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, there being none, if you'll register your vote. And it passes by unanimous vote of the council. We come next to item number 9. This is a public hearing, and to introduce it, our Director of Planning, Mr. James Pliska.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, citizens of Haltom City. This is the third rezoning of 2005, and it is the first reading. This is consideration and/or action regarding conducting a public hearing for approval of the first reading of ordinance number 2005-02515 to rezone the property consisting of approximately 0.2592 acres of land located at 4404 Newman Drive and being more fully described as Lot 9, Block 7, Earl's Edition, from the D Duplex Residential District to SF2 Single Family Residential District. The site is zoned D Duplex Residential. The applicant is requesting a zoning change from the D Duplex Residential District to the SF2 Single Family Residential District in order to bring the property into compliance with the city's zoning ordinance. Currently, the property has 2 single-family structures on a D Duplex zone lot. The zoning change will not require an amendment to the city's land use plan. At their meeting on May 10th, 2005, the P&Z voted unanimously to recommend approval of this zoning change request from the D Duplex Residential District to the SF2 Single Family Residential and refer it to the City Council. Therefore, I formally submit a copy of the ordinance. There will be some minor tweaks to this ordinance for the second reading. In this ordinance, it referenced a change to the land use plan, and that is not correct. So we'll change that between now and the second reading. Also, Exhibit A is a survey of the property indicating the location of the existing structures, and also Exhibit B is a proposed plat that will come to the council at a later date concerning this item.
Questions for Mr. Pliska by the council? Councilmember Hutchison.
Mr. Pliska, would you explain the order of events that's going to happen here? We're going to rezone this, and then they're going to come back and ask for a replat. Is that correct? Or a plat, excuse me.
That is correct. They are seeking the rezone, first of all, because it is a spot zone piece of property. It is a single piece of property surrounded by single-family residential and therefore needs to conform with the area. Basically, it is too small of a lot to become a duplex lot. It doesn't have the square footage. So they're seeking a rezone to single-family. Then they'll go to the Zoning Board of Adjustments because there's existing structures that are non-conforming on the lots before they have this lot into 2 or split it into 2. Then once they achieve approval from the ZBA, it will come before the planning and zoning as a plat, a replat of the property, and also then subsequently before this council.
Okay, anything further for Mr. Pliska? Thank you, Mr. Pliska.
Thank you, Mayor.
This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing at this time. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding this item has an opportunity. Our first speaker, Mr. Ernie Hedgecock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Ernest Hedgecock, representing Casa Unlimited as the owner of this property. And Mr. Pliska outlined everything that we've the details that's going to be coming before you later on. This is a kind of a unique situation. We're asking for the zoning now to bring it into compliance so that we can sell it off as these two existing buildings as single-family residences. That's their plan right now. We will remodel and improve these structures, which I know you have all checked them out, and they definitely need a little repair here and there. But the Casa Unlimited has over 200 pieces of property in the Tarrant County area, and there's two of them right now. One's on Melissa Street, and one's on Thomas Road, and one's on Stephanie, and then they've got this one here on Newman that they just purchased. This is a unique piece of property in that if you look at the plat for the Earl's Edition, which was platted in 1945, there is no Newman Street. It's just all lots. It comes up from 28th Street all the way up on further north. They just created this road but for Lot 10. They just took 50 feet out of Lot 10 and split it and ran the road through. So that's one of the reasons I suspect that these houses are sitting a little closer to the property line. The one that faces on Layton Street, the larger unit, will have 3 or 4 bedrooms with 2 baths. And then the smaller one in the back will have just a 1 bath. And we think, my owner told me that he thought this was at one time a church, and this was the parsonage behind it, which could be. I don't remember in 1945 what was there. But anyway, we do appreciate that we worked with the city on getting this all worked out. The back house is only 15 feet off of the property line, and it's only 60 feet wide, so if we chop it up pretty close. It's a small house, and we got to get a variance there for that lot is only 43 feet, 4,300 square feet. What we did is we took the distance between the two buildings and put our lot line down the middle, so we'd kind of split it and make the one on the front will meet the ordinance. The one on the back will need to get a variance, and we also need to get a variance for the side yard. The big building is only 5 feet off of the property line, so we need to get a variance there. So there's a few little details we still got to cover, but we do appreciate the zoning change if you can do that for us. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Hedgecock before he's seated? Thank you, Mr. Hedgecock.
Thank you.
Since this is a public hearing, anyone in the audience wishing to speak either for or against this matter will have an opportunity to do so at this time. Okay.
And he knows it. I give him the survey.
Is that on this property?
No,
Okay, this is a public hearing on this property. In just a moment, you'll have an opportunity under the Visitor Citizens Forum to address us. Anyone else in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? Okay, there being none, I'll close the public hearing at this time, reminding the council this is the first reading of the ordinance. I'm ready for a motion regarding the desire of the council on this item. Councilmember Hutchison.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we approve on first reading ordinance number 0200525-15.
Have a motion to approve. Councilmember Holcomb.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If you will, register your vote. And it is a unanimous vote to approve on first reading. Okay, we come now to the Visitor Citizens Forum. This time is set aside for a person having business before the council that is not scheduled on the agenda to have an opportunity to speak. When one completes a speaker's request card before the meeting starts, they are extended 6 minutes of time. For someone who wishes to address the council who has not submitted the speaker's request card ahead of time, a 3-minute time limit will be granted. So I believe the gentleman said a moment ago you'd like to address the council at this time. If you will, come to the podium, and we do need your name and address for the record, please. And I want you to be aware that the council cannot discuss this item with you tonight because it was not posted on the agenda according to the Texas Open Meetings act 72 hours ahead of time. We'll be glad to hear what you have to say.
Well, that's great. I've come to this council before.
Yes, sir. Would you
But
give
this-
us your name and address?
My name is James W. Meadows, live at 3142 Ray Drive West.
Thank you.
And,
Okay. 3 minutes.
okay, before this ever started, I come to Mr. Murrell, and my neighbor had already come to him and told him that there was not enough frontage. On top of that, a drainage pipe went down through there, and on top of that, a gas line goes across it. And we told him it could not be done according to the city ordinance. On front of the street, it's only about 17 feet at the curb. And on top of that, there's a drainage going, taking up several feet of that. Now, I don't know about this other property, but this one here, they also had to put the water meter partly over on another man's property. The survey also is over on another man's property, which is about 6 inches, a little better. And I brung this to your code man and showed it to him. He told me to bring the legal survey of it. I went down to the courthouse, got a survey of 18 and 50, brung it to him and showed him that their survey was wrong. He said he would correct it if I done that. Then he got madder and all get out, throwed it up on the counter, up on the filing desk. He wanted me to take it back home with me. I told him I already have one. I said, I got another copy for me. So therefore, if any of them on this council wants to see it, I've got it. I've talked to the engineer also about it before this was done, and he said it's been paid to be moved, this draining pipe. I said, you can't move it. And he says, why? I said, because there's a sewer line over there where you've got us and going down through it. He said, oh, no, it goes up a hill here and up a hill here. I said, no, it don't. It goes across there. I said, you're right, it goes both places, but it goes straight across this other man's property. You can't do it. They went ahead and did it anyhow. So I don't know what the city can do about it, but I know one thing, it's completely illegal. And this other property that someone got a paper on it, a letter on it, I didn't get one. I don't know about it, but it's also got that same gas pipe going down the side of it, but I don't think it goes under it. And I don't know what the controversy is, and I don't want to know because I don't want to get into it. I got enough on my mind because the friend that I'm trying to help, he's been in the hospital for off and on for about 2 years, Mr. Williams. His son was also in the hospital. His wife couldn't take care of it. And his son died on January of this year. That's about all I have to say. Just leave it up to the council to do whatever they seem it's right. If it's right to correct the wrong, then do it. If according to the Constitution, it is right to completely correct it. And I figure, I don't know, I've got a good neighbor there, but still, the property is illegal.
Thank you. Thank you for addressing the council. Because of this not being posted on the agenda, we cannot comment, we cannot engage you in any discussion on this. If you do need to talk about this further, Mr. Muir's office.
You'll be getting a call from me.
Okay, I've already talked to him twice, and I'll talk to him
You've
again.
talked to me quite a while ago, but some of the other things that you recently mentioned, that was not part of our conversation. So you and I need to talk again.
So he'll be in
Okay,
contact
great.
with you regarding that.
Anytime I'll come to see you, you can come see me.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have anyone else in the audience wishing to address the council? Okay, there being none, excuse me. You got to be fast, Ray. I almost went on to the next item.
This will be 3 minutes. My name's Ray
3
Clint.
minutes,
I live
if
at
you'll-
2532 Oakwood Terrace. First off, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I want to thank you that attended our community meeting at the Calvary Chapel Church last Monday. We appreciate you coming out and hearing the police, the representatives from Fort Worth. Two of them came to speak to us, the neighborhood associations, and also the BISD was there to discuss the facilities plan, which they're discussing again tonight at Richland Middle School. So thank you again for coming to our meeting. But I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I got so excited when the mayor listed as one of his important things for the next 2 years the Belknap study. I've been working with some gentlemen just as a interest point of view to look at these kinds of developments. And I'm glad to hear these words coming from the leadership of our city: historical overlays, enterprise zones, and mixed use. We can look just simply 5 minutes to our west to Fort Worth and see great success. This city was named one of the 10 best downtowns in America, and we can see these kinds of uses. Mr. Harper and I took a trip one Saturday. We drove around to some sites that not so long ago you would not go to in the afternoon because you would be frightened, even two guys in a pickup. But we got out and we took pictures and we examined the redevelopment on Rosedale and Evans. We examined it on Magnolia. We examined it on Berry Street. And we took pictures and we brought those things over here. And we looked at those building structures and the street layouts and looked at Belknap and took pictures over there and said, my goodness, these are awful similar. Maybe with good leadership and a positive attitude and a good solid plan, we can reach some of these things that Fort Worth did. And I will tell you, Mr. Mayor, that my research into these matters, it's tough, okay? Berry Street, for example, started 9 years ago with committee and neighborhood meetings from the citizens and bringing that thing forward, and then the funding came along. So it is not an overnight thing, but we look at Belknap as a great asset for the city. It's been a little neglected here and there. We see some revitalization coming on, and I think we can all agree that our future is linked to our past in this city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Eklund. Anyone else? Okay, there being none, we will move now to item number 10, resignations of board members. Councilmember Reese, do you have one, I believe?
I do. I have Yvonne Edens did resign from the beautification board.
Okay, if you will, members of the council will need a ratification of that resignation. Okay, we have unanimous ratification. Do we have any other resignations from any of our boards or commissions? Okay, there being none, we'll move to item number 11, and that is appointments. And I think those of us who were elected 3 or 4 weeks ago have some appointments to make tonight. But Councilmember Reese, I think you have one.
I do. I just got one. Terry Haley, I am going to see about getting her up on the beautification board. I have spoken with her, and she is very interested.
Okay. We need indication by the council of ratification of that appointment, please. And it is the wish of the council to ratify. Okay, we're going to go in reverse order this time on appointments and reappointments. I heard a comment earlier about somebody always being last, so the last shall be first. And so, if you will, Councilmember Bransom, your appointments, please.
Thank you. They're all reappointments. Fire Services Board, Carolyn Sue Austin. Park and Rec Board, Clay Cavazos. Planning and Zoning Commission, Jackie Woodard. Sexually Oriented Board of Appeals, Gay Klein. And Zoning Board of Adjustments, Faye-Joy Turner.
We'll take that all in by one action of ratification, unless any member of the council wishes to divide those appointments out for individual. Okay, there being none, if you will display your vote at this time, please. And that passes by a unanimous act by the council. Do you have that written down for Donna? Okay. That would make your job easier, I believe. Okay. We'll move to Councilmember Holcomb.
I don't have any at this time, Mayor.
Okay.
There's some more research I need to do.
Okay. Councilmember Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 4 appointments. Still got more in the next council meeting, but I'd like to make 4 tonight. The first one is on Beautification Board, Wayne Clowers. The second one is on the Fire Services Board, Rick Miller. The third one is on the Planning and Zoning Commission, Larry Pinkerton. And the final one is on the Zoning Board of Adjustments, David Harper.
Okay, you have heard the recommendations by Councilmember Sutton for appointments to his place on the various boards and commissions. If you will, register your desire for ratification of those, please. And that is unanimous ratification of all of those. And Councilmember Sutton, do you have a list we could give Donna?
I'll provide that too.
Okay. And I have several appointments to make tonight, and all of mine are reappointments. Zoning Board of Adjustment, alternate place 3, Darren Hudson. Zoning Board of Adjustment, place 4, alternate place 4, Scott Garrett. Planning and Zoning Commission, alternate place 1, Wayne Moody. Alternate place 2, Mike Stewart. Parks and Rec, Roland Kuhlman. Library, Rexanne Grove. Fire Services, Warren Davenport. Beautification, C.C. Oaks. And the Civil Service, Don Bybee and Bob Yates. So I'm asking for ratification of those individuals. And it is a unanimous ratification. And I want to mention, for the benefit of the my fellow council members as well as people in the audience, the Haltom City Housing Authority has, I believe it's 6 or 7 members of their board, and we failed to get some done a few months ago. I have some more to make appointments, and they'll all be reappointments but one. I believe that's in July. But just for your information, to the Haltom City Housing Authority, the mayor has appointments of Pauline Wright, Earl Hall, and Bertha Roden, and I don't need ratification on those. They've already been notified of their reappointment to that board. Okay, Councilmember Sutton.
Yes, just wanted to remind you that we will need to make council liaison appointments, and I'll be prepared to do that in 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Historically, in Haltom City, the Mayor Pro Tem makes some appointments regarding the liaisons, and those will be forthcoming. The council, having addressed all items on the agenda, will move into executive session at this time as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, subsection .071, .072, and .074. Any discussion that takes place in executive session, any action to come from any of that discussion will be when we come back into this setting after we complete executive session. So we will move into executive session at this time.